Well, it's the very pivotal moment of the India-England test series. It's been 3 tests. England are leading 2-1. There has been something very consistent though in the series. The thrills, the spills, but one overarching common problem.
I have that, if, I may interrupt. Is it the number of ducks that have increased for Jasprit Bumrah? Is that the consistent problem?
No, that isn't a consistent problem. You see, test match timings are 3 to 10:30 when it's coming to India, 3:30 to 10:30.
Yeah.
But every day we extend half an hour. And you know where I'm coming from at this stage. Overs are supposed to be 90 overs bowled in a day, but no one manages to bowl that many overs. And that is the major point of this debate that we are having, a very special Sunday debate that we have with all of you guys about India versus England, the Anderson Tendulkar Trophy, or should we call it the slow over rate trophy?
I was about to come with the same name. If the series, while the trophy has already been recrescened, but if there was room for further more recrescening, maybe this is the name that you will have to attribute to it. The slow over rate trophy, which at the moment is with England.
Yes.
The series also is with England at the moment.
And they have been docked 2 WTC points because of that.
Yeah.
Okay. But here is the thing. Okay. The main focus on our debate is not just on the slow over rate. Consider this. Ever since the 70s, we used to have over rates of 21 overs per hour. But now in the 2000s, it's dipped to 14 an hour. And in this current series, it is just about 13.
It's 13.3.
13.3. Now, the major debate that we're having here is the premise, and I'll then throw the floor open to our 2 gentlemen to my left and to my right here. What should be done? What can be done to curb this menace? Let me call it a menace called slow over rate. How do you curb the menace? Are the penalties too light? Can it be policed? Can it not be policed? Is it practically impossible to avoid slow over rates, or do you think it's just the nature of the beast nowadays? Because I'll give you certain factors. Nature of ball, nature of conditions, players' fitness. Do you think slow over rates can be curbed, or it's there to stay? Gentlemen, the floor is open.
See, Siddharth, you very rightly say, I think it's a menace in the sport, and it is then the responsibility of the officiating authorities to ensure that this menace, that there's mitigation to this menace. We need to find a way to mitigate this whole issue. It ails the sport, it makes it slow for the 2 teams. It changes the outcome at times as well, because what do we say about T20 cricket? It's the nature, it's the speed of the game that either makes or breaks. And in test cricket as well, the way that the sport is played, the speed of the game makes a lot of a difference. If I've taken 3 quick wickets at the start of a session and then I'm seeing time wasting tactics, that's deliberately been done to ensure that the pressure is released from the batting team. The batting team's deploying any such time wasting tactics. So we need to take into consideration that a lot. Simulation has become a part of the sport. Unfortunately, this is a bad habit that we've picked up from other sports, football being the most infamous when it comes to simulation. But that also, with the evolvement of the sport, with the way that our sport has evolved, has also become a very notorious characteristic of simulation. Now, in all of this, what is it that the authorities need to do? When you see a high profile series like this, in which 19 overs were wasted in the second match, there were 38 wasted in the first test match, you've lost in excess of 50 overs in the first 2 test matches. Yes, you were able to have an outcome, but that doesn't mean that the whole system's taken for a ride. And at the moment, I think the system, the rules are being taken on a ride by both the teams, and it just doesn't concern these 2 teams. I think this concerns all teams, in fact. And the one currency and the one thing, the one common denominator that all teams understand, if you ask me, is runs. Fines, I don't think work. They're all very wealthy people, if you ask me. It doesn't impact the boards either. Forget the players. I don't think it impacts the boards either. So I don't think penalties, monetary penalties are going to make a difference. Fines aren't going to be making a difference. What will make a difference is you impose stricter penalties. At the moment, I think is by my limited understanding of the rules, there is a provision of umpires imposing penalty runs. But have we?
It is so the rule that you're saying is if it is observed that there is deliberate wastage, it's blatantly deliberate, then the umpire can give 5 penalty runs.
That's what I'm saying. But have we said that seen in modern history that happen? No. I don't remember one single test match. So what is it that teams understand?
It did happen once when Australia and New Zealand, but it wasn't deliberately slow over rate. Labuschagne landed twice on the danger area, and that was when 5 penalties.
But that's a different thing altogether. That's not time wasting. So if there is an observation like that, if there's a team whether deliberately wasting time or unintentionally being slow with their over rate, there needs to be some sort of penalty, which is not something retrospect. These points getting docked is also something that gets done retrospectively, and then of course then it leaves England 2 full years to compensate for it and ensure that they get those WTC points back. It could eventually hurt them, but it also gives them time to work on it. But what is it that impacts the game? I think there needs to be stricter norms. There needs to be penalty that get imposed right then and there, so that it makes a difference to the overall outcome of the match. And what is it that teams understand? A match in which you had both teams locked at 387. That is where every run counted. That is how the match was decided on 22 runs ultimately. I take those 5 runs away, and if the offense was more than once, if I take 10 runs away for slow rate, that just become 12 runs, and everything changes around the match. Maybe that dismissal wouldn't have happened, and the pressure would then have shifted to the bowling team much more. So I think there cannot be retrospective penalties. There need to be penalties in active play for you to be able to curb this.
Okay, so he's raised a point that there should be run penalty in addition to point penalty. But Gulati, I'll throw this to you. How can you be so unfair? I'll present the scenario to you. Where does a slow over rate situation happen? In countries like England, in countries like Australia, and in countries like South Africa. But here in the subcontinent, because you employ 3 spinners, you employ 4 spinners sometimes, your over rate goes with a flash. You can bowl 100 overs also in a day.
I agree with that. While that is partly true, but what we've also seen in this very series, I think it happened during the Lord's Test match, that a scheduled 4-minute drinks break became a 6-minute drinks break.
That was because that's what many people are saying. It's because of the conditions. But what do you think? Because of conditions, can there be a universal run or point penalty that what Harshit says? You see, deducting runs is a deterrent. Agreed. It happened in the 90s. It did happen often, and teams would then try their best to ensure the over rates are fine. But then, different conditions. I'll give you a case. Australia, England, Old Trafford, rained out game, but England were docked 10 points, Australia were docked 9 points. And Australia, they'll know over rate deductions because 3 points they lost in Melbourne, they didn't make it to the WTC final in 21. What do you do then? How can you base upon Harshit's assumption and argument that yes, in addition to points penalty, have a runs penalty?
I think first of all, I kind of agree with what Harshit has said. I can actually remember a most recent instance when a team was actually docked of 5 points, and that was a T20 World Cup game between USA and India. USA actually helped India in that particular game. They scored about 110, and there was a 5-run penalty to them because they failed to start as many as 3 overs in time, because of which, India were awarded a total of 5 runs. So any which ways, if you talk to me about it, I would say, I'm going to be a fan of it. But you talk about, different conditions. I think in India you have, majority of the spinners, they are going to do most of the workload. In a day you have about 98 overs to be bowled. In that report, when it was being pinpointed that weather conditions are pretty adverse, sometimes maybe a 30-degree feels like a 45-degree. I don't know if any subcontinent team has ever complained about it. They play in the most adverse of the conditions. In India, we all know, how heat really gets the better of us. It actually consumes a lot of our energy, and even if I have to travel from office for about 1.5 to 2 hours, then most of my energy is like it's done, it's almost done and dusted, and then I literally have to try my level best to make sure that I'm there, I'm doing my job pretty well, and that's what the Indian players are pretty much used to. They literally have to be on the field for about 90
there's a difference
all
over.
overs.
I feel there's a difference over there.
I know. I completely know, because after that, when I come to office, I know that I have to sit in AC. That's absolutely fine.
No, but not just that. I'm saying.
But I don't think they complain. That's the point. See, the point here is that why do we really have to pinpoint the blame on the fact that it's because of adverse weather conditions that this is happening, that 30-degree feels 45-degree. The point blank thing is that you have to bowl 90 overs in a day, so you have to bowl. It's as simple as that.
You see, now there is an issue.
No, I like that. I like that. Why do you have that scenario only on day 5 of a test match? Where come what may, all overs will be bowled. But on day 1, 2, 3, 4, you will not have such a scenario. Why?
And why do you want to extend, the play by an hour or 2 on day 5 so as to accommodate a total of 90 overs when you know that, some overs have been lost due to rain or for some other reason? Why can't you start the play an hour early or maybe a half an hour early?
Again,
that is something, that's a problem that we have in England test matches.
You see, the problem is in some places you will start early. But in some places, you'll extend a final session. That is because of either broadcasting, it is either because of all that. But then, I spoke about the menace, but the unfortunate bitter truth is, we may have to live with the menace. I'll tell you why.
No, but what is the ICC going to do, Siddharth?
The ICC can't do a thing. I'll tell you why. Because if you impose a points penalty and if you impose even a run penalty, but then England, Australia, South Africa and all, where the conditions don't demand spinners, there they'll be, but what do we do? Our conditions favor fast bowling, and fast bowling takes a lot more time than spin bowling. An average spinner, for example, Ravindra Jadeja will bowl an over in 1 minute if there is no runs taken off him. A minute or 2 minutes. Your maximum over that you are supposed to give, you have to finish the over in 4 minutes. But here, a fast bowler running in with all these things will take 5-6 minutes, because if he's running very fast, Jofra Archer, he will not take 4 minutes. There is one more thing that has complicated this whole mess that is there. The reviews, the DRS. Now look at Lords, how many reviews were overturned, how many reviews were taken for every ball hitting the pad. Oh, out, LBW, we review, no, we will review. This also review. Now reviews take how much time? You calculate all of that.
So I think we're all being taken into a direction where you can't. There is a talk about reducing the number of days in a test match to make it more enterprising. That can't be the thing, right? But what is it that we do? Like we have a very strict policy of 90 overs being bowled on the last day. You have to then come up with besides those penalties, also lay down the rule that 90 overs will be done regardless of it being the first day or the 4th day.
Exactly.
What is the problem with that?
I completely agree with this, and that's why I'm saying that.
And we have heard from captains.
Yeah.
We've heard from captains say this, that there is a sense of urgency from umpires, from the players, everyone, because there is no getting away on the final day. We've heard that from captains in the
But
past.
then the only point is that you do one thing, that you can impose that runs penalty. Let's say, if a team is failing to do so, if failing to bowl, all their 90 overs in a day, then what you do is that you already impose them a 5 or a 10 run penalty, similar to what I think we had in ODI cricket in late 90s and early 2000s, that if you don't bowl your required
overs would reduce.
50 overs in about 2.5 to 3 hours or whatever is the time, then if it's a target of 260, then you'll have to chase that target not in 50 overs but in 45, 46 overs. That's the point. In case of 90 overs, either you impose that runs penalty that as Harshit has pointed, or I would say that if you're not able to bowl 90 overs in a day and it's not due to the weather conditions or any bad weather conditions, next day you start an hour early. Now that's also a punishment.
You see, okay, now there are 3 solutions.
Yes.
Before we almost wind it up. 3 solutions. You have to control the controllables. What is going wrong in England? The ball. The ball is going so much out of shape that umpires are like, and players are like, we're obsessed with, we want a perfect ball. We want a perfect ball. Now changing of the ball, going through the wire gauge and doing all that, getting a new set of balls, how much time does it take? An additional 5 to 7 minutes? Your review. Every single time there is a review, you are burning 5-7 minutes there also. Agreed?
But that you can't help.
Either you don't,
Because you have gotten the technology to make the game as fair as possible and as as precise as possible.
unpopular opinion. instead of 15 seconds are given for the fielding team to decide, reduce it to 5 minutes, 5 seconds.
No.
I think
No,
5
no,
seconds
because
is-
what will happen is,
That's
see,
too less, Siddharth.
because see,
You can't do it. You can't achieve it in 5 seconds.
you have to take quick, then increase the number of reviews, then 5 seconds, 5 reviews. Because then you are not tackling the overrate menace then.
I think there is no way you can have a decision on DRS in 5 seconds. Maybe you can reduce it to 10 seconds, but I'm not sure reducing from 15 to 10 also would make any difference.
So, okay, you can't avoid that, so okay. Ball, this thing, we can't avoid. Okay, which is why I laid this argument that overrate menace is here to stay. And the ICC can't do anything about it because it's just like how Test cricket is, like what Michael Vaughan pointed out. It is sporadic and it has no structure. Teams, we have lost 50 overs, right? That is almost a day and a half. That's almost a day. In 50 over cricket, that's almost an innings gone. But what is the archaic rule? If 80 overs, within 80 overs, you bowl the opposition out, there is no penalty. Now that is also a grey area that you have to explore. Now, ball change, you will take time. Reviews, you will take time. These are the two things that are controllable. Na? How on earth then will the ICC ensure that every team takes it? Conditions too hot. No boss. We have to take drinks break. We have to do all this. We have to change the ball for the perfect ball to come. Now that is the reason why I think your slow overrate menace is only going to fester.
No, but
even
while
further.
Siddharth and I have given some sort of a solution that we'd like to see, what is it that you would like
My
to see?
solution is the practical thing is there is no solution because of the way how Test cricket
No,
is.
one measure you're taking, let's say, if
One
you're
measure that I would say is
in the movie Nayak, 24 hours chief minister. If you are 24 hour head of ICC, what is it that you're doing?
I would play on until you finish the overs.
Last ball will be the 90th over last ball.
90th over, non-negotiable. You have to finish the overs on time. Simple.
And just in addition to what Siddharth has said, if you're not able to finish off 90 overs, let's say on day 1, that's the opening
Early
day of the
start, as
test,
you said.
have an early start, on day 2, irrespective of
See,
what were the weather conditions on day 1.
broadcasters to start early is a bit of a logistical issue.
Yeah.
But extending late is not a logistical issue because you're known well in advance. I mean, we all have worked in television broadcasting. Immediately, if it breaks, if we have to do something which is programmed, but then you have to do it earlier, it takes a lot more logistics. Extend the final session and finish the overs. Simple. Non-negotiable from every test, finish 90 overs. Clear diktat in the MCC rules. Whatever you want to do it, every team has to bowl 90.
Since you're so good with the MCC rules, Siddharth, which one will this be? 4.2.3.1?
No, I would say MCC rule 90.1.1.1. That's it. Because 90, dedication to the overs.
Yeah.
And that's it. 1, non-negotiable. 1, bowl. 3, stop complaining. Bowl. That is the thing and finish your over. Otherwise, Test cricket will go directionless. These small things will ensure that Test cricket goes directionless and we are already getting there. But one hopes that in Manchester we see an improved overrate because otherwise the slow overrate series has been very, very abysmal and it's not making Test cricket any better.
And very well contested.
It is well contested, but then as you said, imagine if you had a run penalty, a 12-run victory or
Absolutely.
a 12-run loss would have been far more hurting. Then if you look at it. So, yep. What do you think, guys, about our solutions? Will there be a solution to it? Can there be a solution with the way how Test cricket is? Do you agree with Gulati's points? Do you agree with Harshit's point? Do you agree with my points? You can write to us in the comments below. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this special debate. Let's hope it improves in the Manchester Test match. From all of us here, good night. See you soon.